Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
In its November 2016 meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEV, had made 16-point demands as a precondition for sustained peace and development to thrive in the Niger Delta, one of which was the inclusion of host communities in pipeline surveillance contracts. Correspondent Tekena Amiofori reports that over 4 years after PANDEV's historic meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, local communities in the Niger Delta are yet to be fully integrated into the pipeline surveillance project designed to protect Nigeria's crude oil pipelines in the Niger Delta.
Prior to 2009, increased insurgency in the Niger Delta had crippled the Nigerian economy with daily attacks on crude oil facilities. While introduction of the presidential amnesty went a long way to douse militant activities in the region, it failed to significantly reduce pipeline vandalism and oil theft in Nigeria's oil belt. According to a 2013 report of the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative (NEITI), Nigeria lost about $11 billion to pipeline vandalism and oil theft between 2009 and 2011. It was to drastically reduce the huge economic losses attendant on pipeline vandalism and crude oil theft that the pipeline surveillance scheme was rolled out by the federal government. As part of its contributions to the peace process in the Niger Delta, PANDEV had suggested inclusion of oil-impacted communities in the pipeline surveillance scheme. To the dismay of the communities, they are still sidelined by government agencies and oil companies in the award of pipeline surveillance contracts, a scenario that has bred dissatisfaction among several groups in the Niger Delta.
Look at the security surveillance contracts taking place in our region. Through the federal government and its agencies in place, they have decided to shortchange our people. Now in our territorial waters, it is an Israeli company that is providing waterway security, which we have competent hands with expert knowledge to manage and provide such security services. Look at the likes of Ocean Marine Solution providing pipeline surveillance contracts in a territory that has more than enough capacity hands to handle such contracts.
The contract is a thing that the government should do from the grassroots. You must engage from the roots or the grassroots of that problem so that you can be able to solve your problem once and for all.
In its submission on security surveillance and protection of oil and gas infrastructure in the Niger Delta, PANDEV observed that it is therefore our view that an urgent review is done to pipeline surveillance contracts to give responsibility to communities rather than individuals in a manner that ties some benefits to their responsibility. Communities will then see their responsibility for the pipeline as protection of what belongs to them.
So this is their own way of saying, PANDEV's way of saying, to guarantee your social license of operating in our communities, look at our youths, bring them in. The major issue here is most communities, most young people in the communities have not gotten these contracts. And those who have gotten it have gotten far more than they are due. And so this is one of the issues. How do we ensure inclusivity? How do we ensure that people are participating?
The pipeline security surveillance scheme was conceived as a short-term measure to provide a revenue stream for young people and oil-impacted communities and douse tension in the Niger Delta. For Professor Neni Barini-Zabe, a professor of environmental studies, a more sustainable livelihood program should rather focus on a shift from fossil fuels to agriculture in addressing issues of economic deprivation in the Niger Delta.
In order to reduce the impact of the environmental footprint of oil and gas production on the people of the Niger Delta, there is need to create alternative livelihood opportunities. One of such alternative livelihood opportunities could be surveillance contract. Beyond surveillance contract, I will also recommend that there's need to invest in robust program that involves sustainable livelihoods, such as sustainable agriculture, because the whole world is moving away from oil. The whole world is embracing green energy. The whole world is talking about environmental sustainability. Our case should not be different.
For its part, the Stakeholder Democracy Network, a non-governmental organization operating in the Niger Delta, advocates transparency in the award of pipeline surveillance contracts to allow for effective performance measurement and management. It is also of the view that it will take a transparent and equitable distribution to halt the increasing pressure for host communities' participation in pipeline security surveillance.
Inside the Niger Delta,